In this video, we're going to have a look at personalising your Business Central experience. So to do that, we go to the Settings cog, and then we go to Personalise. Okay, and that'll open up this little drop down here, and then if we click on More, it'll open up the Personalisation bar. So what I can now do is I can change the look and feel of any of the pages that I interact with in Business Central. So if I click on this customer link here, I then have to click on Open, and that's going to take me to the customer list. I'm just going to pop this into list view. So let's say that my organisation doesn't use responsibility centres or locations. I can click here, I can hide those fields. Okay, so I'm just making the view more relevant to what I'm doing. And then if I want to add in a field, if I click on the plus field box up here, you can see all the fields that I can currently add to this list view. Okay, so let's say I want salesperson code. Now, when you want to add a field in, you can just drag and drop it, but I would always recommend that you click on the little eye icon, the sort of hidden eye icon here, to show where Business Central would recommend that it sits, okay? Then you can then click on the arrow here and click on show, okay? The main reason for that is that sometimes when you're entering data into certain areas in the system, it will calculate some validation. So if, for example, we go to my role center and we go into sales orders and we open up a sales order. As you can see, as we're doing this, the fields are changing on the right hand side depending on what page we're on. So at the minute, these are fields I can add to the sales order header. If I click into this line section, so if I make it active by going into this red box, it then changes to what I can add to the sales order line itself. Coming back to what I was saying about where you actually insert these fields. As you are entering data into areas of the system, such as a sales order, so we're selecting our item and then selecting our number, the system is carrying out validation. So when that item was selected, over here, it's potentially going to pull dimensions from that item. Probably not in this demo at the minute, but it could pull dimensions from the item. So you need to be careful about choosing your own layout for the columns, because if I put these dimensions for the item number, I could select the dimensions, and then when I select the item, it's going to revalidate the dimensions attached to that item, and it will potentially change or delete the data I've already entered. Okay. So let's say in an extreme scenario you have done that. So again, it might be you might put item before number or something, and it doesn't make sense. Anywhere you're in the system and you've got a bit stuck, you can always go to clear personalization. It will reset the page back to the standard for the profile that you're using. Okay. You've also got a freeze pane line here, so I can also change where that appears in our sort of list view. So I can set the freeze pane to there. So if I want to see the item number as I'm working across, I can do that. That's also available on the list pages. So again, if I wanted to change it here to set the freeze pane to there, I can do that. Okay, so you can play around with it as much as you want. The personalization is only relevant to yourself. So any changes you make won't affect any other users. So you're not going to mess anybody else's experience up. Then you also need to be mindful that any changes you're making also aren't applicable to anyone else. So if they are sort of global changes that should be relevant to everybody, it's a good idea to get those modified in the actual profiles themselves through customization. You can also modify your menus. So if you look up here, I've also got red arrows next to these. So if, let's say, I didn't want to worry about any warehousing, which is actually already hidden, you can actually choose whether or not that menu shows or not. Okay, so I can hide that or move it, and you can modify the menus to your heart's content. It's a really good way of getting the system to look and feel how you want it to be for your daily tasks. As I said, if you go back into the customer list, if you want to go back to the default, you can always click on clear personalization, and it'll put it back to how it was before you started. Okay. The list of fields here is also a suggested list. So if we drop down here, you can see that it's the recommended fields. Okay, so those are the recommended fields from Microsoft. If there are additional fields that you would like added, you can see that this all fields preview is actually grayed out. that can only be done through profile customization. So it is possible to get more fields into the views, but you have to do it through the profile customization. So that might be more of a sort of admin task rather than a user task. Okay, so that was a quick roundup of personalization. If you've got any questions on this, please drop them in the comments below. Leave the video a like if you found it useful, and consider subscribing to the channel for any future content. Thanks for watching and have a great day.